Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Peak Performance Secrets. My name is Kamoya Benjamin. I identify as a peak performance coach. What that means is that I come alongside individuals and teams to help them really master their mindset so that they can deploy themselves at the optimum, again, mindset in order to create the results that they know are possible for them. And I define that as more, creating more, whatever more represents for you, whether it's more impact, more income, more clarity, more decisiveness, more cohesion, more assertiveness, whatever more represents, there's an inner game that's required in order for you to create the outer game. And that is the purpose of these lunch and learn sessions, to give you an opportunity to quickly grab an insight, an awareness, wisdom that will help you to navigate your peak performance journey to create more, whatever more represents. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about freeing the leader within. And specifically, I'll share 5 shackles that we need to rise above. These are limiting beliefs in order for us to take charge in every moment. I have seen myself as a leader shackled by these 5 beliefs, limiting beliefs that held me back from taking charge in the seasons of my life. If you look at the society today, in one way or the other, we are always pointing at someone else and, claiming that they are responsible for the situations that we face, for the results that we are not getting, for the outcomes that we have, for our current conditions and circumstances. While I do understand that there are factors that are outside of our control, I am a firm believer in you being fully resourced, me being fully resourced, whole, built in order to navigate the circumstances. I am a firm believer in that. And even as I work with my coaching clients, I enter those conversations from that belief that they've got everything, because I firmly believe that it is in the place of God to have built me and gifted and fitted me with every resource and capacity to navigate my situations. Otherwise, if it were not so, I would look within and say, guess what, God, you didn't give me this. That would be to, suggest that God is either unwilling to cause you to be fully resourced, or he's unable. And those two things are not true of him in the character that we know him to have. He's fully resourced you to create the situations. And so let's dive in and look at what are these 5 shackles. What are these 5 shackles? For me to get this idea across, I wanted to use this analogy that you might have seen before of this elephant. And you know what elephants are. They are mighty, they are strong, they are known to, uproot trees. I remember growing up, we used to travel a lot to Masai Mara. My dad was a tourist, and he was a tour guide. And so every time we would go with him, and I spent a lot of my formative years going there. A lot of my cousins, my uncles have a lot of connections with the Masai Mara Game Reserve. And so I spent a lot of, times going there. And would travel sometimes early in the morning or late into the night, and I would hear the driver say, there are elephants in this area, and we would get to a certain section of the road and would find acacia trees that have been uprooted, massive trees uprooted onto the road, and they would say, the elephants were here. And you could see some of those trees were freshly uprooted. You could see the poop of the elephants there, and you're like, wow, this massive thing, it just uproots trees. And to imagine that massive, animal could be tied down by such a small stump, a small stick would limit this animal. That is what I want you to see as we are tackling these 5 shackles that I've seen in leaders. Now, let's get to the first one. The first shackle is what I call the definition shackle. The definition shackle. And when I talk about the definition shackle, here's an insight that came to me as I was preparing this lesson. That the definition that you give something defines how you utilize the thing. The definition you give something defines how much power you can extract from a thing. The definition that the Israelites gave of Christ, the Messiah, when he was in their midst, limited the extent to which he could perform miracles in that region. He didn't do a lot of miracles in that region because their perception, their definition of him was some kind of person, and that limited, it put a cap on their ability to tap into everything that he had. It's also been said, if you look in the scriptures, that a prophet has got no honor in his town. Why does it mean that he does not have honor in his own town? And therefore, he's not able to do miracles. He's not able to, bring to bear the full extent of his gifts and abilities in a place where he is not regarded. The definition that you give to something defines how much you can extract. And that definition can either limit you or it can open up an unlimited resource for you to tap into the power that a thing has. And so when it comes to leadership, the definition shackled goes to when you ask most people, are you a leader? And I've asked this question, it's not hypothetical. I'm asking this question to you. Are you a leader? Because when I'm in workshops, and I do workshops every year, to hundreds of individuals, when we walk into a room and say, can I see the leaders in this place? Most people turn and look at somebody who's got a title or who's got authority as the person who's the leader. Right there, you see the shackle that is in the definition. We have come to identify leadership as being a position, as being a title, as being a place right there at the top in front of the crowd. That's where leadership happens. And while we know that, yes, I am a leader, the question I ask, and I did in this series of leading myself, do you believe that you are a leader? Here are the two things that I want you to know. Most people believe that they cannot lead if they are not at the top. And most people jostle for positions of power in politics to get to a position believing that that's the only place from where they can effect change. In organizations, it's the same case. I cannot lead unless I'm at the top. When I get to the top, then I'll change policy. When I get to the top, then I'll challenge this about the organization. If you ever hear someone say, but I'm not, if only, that means that they've relegated themselves to a place of something else other than leadership. And that's the first shackle. What definition do you have of yourself? Do you see yourself as a leader? Because if you do, then you rise and step up and take charge in every moment. In the definition that I've been sharing in this Leading Myself series, we've worked with this definition from Bob Anderson that says leadership is the deployment of self into circumstance in order to create the outcomes that are desired, in order to create outstanding results. The deployment of self into circumstance. And you can either deploy a creative or a reactive self. The self you deploy determines the results you get. But either way, leadership is the deployment. And even when you think you're not leading, by holding yourself back and crossing your arms and saying, I'm not in leadership, that's also leadership. That's also deployment of self into that circumstance and says, you know what, I'm going to be distant about this. I'm not saying anything. I'll be quiet on this one. That's also deploying yourself into circumstance, and that always creates results. And so leadership is happening in moments at all the time. And the first shackle here is the definition shackle. Are you believing that you are a leader? Is there evidence that you show up regardless of the situation that you're in, and you looking at who is in charge? Do you take charge even without a title, position, rank, whatever that may be? That's the first shackle. The second shackle that's connected to the first one is what we call the followership shackle. A lot of people believe that because I am following and there's another leader in place, then I am not the leader. I am a follower. And a good follower is passive and submissive. A good follower follows orders. A good follower does not challenge the leader because the leader knows best. This is the second shackle. Again, shackle because mighty as you may be, that belief, that shackle right there is holding back your capacity. How many times in organizations, in countries, in society do we see sharp, brilliant people go into spaces and they say, you know what, over here, I'm just a follower. I'm not leading. I'll tell you that because I've been in church circles for a long time. And I remember a time when my pastor used to stand in front of the church and say, wait a minute, in here we've got CEOs, we've got directors, we've got managers, we've got team leaders, and they sit in pews every Sunday. But they do not participate in the leadership, in the direction, in the conversations that involve the spaces that they are in. And he used to challenge the congregation and say, why is it that it appears as though you hang your brains outside there and come into the church, into the pews, and only pick them up on your way out? The followership shackle. That over here, I'm just following. Over here, I'm not going to say anything. Over here, I'm just a follower. Parents who are CEOs take their children to kindergartens and they see issues that need to be addressed. But they say, over here, I'm just a parent. I'll follow what the head teacher says. That followership shackle limits your deployment into circumstance to create outstanding results. In what ways are you holding back from speaking out in your boardroom meetings? In what ways are you holding back from challenging what you see is a strategy that's not going to take you in the direction that you want? In what ways are you holding back from challenging a direction that's coming from leadership, that will have your people work 24 hours without sleep? In what ways are you holding back because, you know what, I'm not there. You know what, I'm not there. They have spoken, they have said. And this is what we tackle when we are working with organizations, seeing that people do not bring their intelligence to the table. They hold back. Why? Because I'm a follower. Let's look at the third one. The third shackle is the beliefs shackle. This is connected to the other two, but it's in the whole idea that if you were to, think about a picture frame. Think about a picture frame with me for a minute. Think about a picture frame. Okay? Think about a picture frame. And in this picture frame, we have what you would call the image of a leader. Okay? We've got the image of a leader over here. All right? Most people, when you begin to identify what a leader is visionary, a leader is decisive, a leader is assertive. The image of a leader that people have is different from who they see themselves as. And so based on this image, they disqualify themselves from seeing themselves as leaders. And again, it is supported by the definition, but you will see I'm not also that. You see, I'm just a follower, and so I am not a leader. Most people have not taken the claim that they are a leader. Why? Because their self-image is that they are not a leader. Their self-image is caught up by the definition that a leader has a position, a leader has a title, a leader is in front, a leader has followers, a leader has vision, a leader has strategy, a leader has, that's the leader. Those are the leaders. And so the belief that I am not a leader is actually the shackle in this case that holds back your mighty power, your mighty ideas. I'll connect this to the others in a short while. The fourth shackle is the permission shackle. As you can see how they all follow each other. And because then I'm not a leader until people give me permission, until I'm nominated, until I'm told, until I'm elected, until I'm called, until people, gang up and say, you have to go and help us. You have to be our hero, please. And we have all the reasons why people will not listen to us. What's the shackle that's holding you back? Are you stepping back because you've not been nominated? Because nobody asked you? Because nobody wants to hear from you? Because you believe that you're not worthy? Because you believe that nobody will listen? Because nobody would listen to someone like you? Again, the beliefs come in. And this shackle has held many people back. Most people are not even able to share their dreams in public. Because they think that they need to seek permission first from the people who are listening. That they need to get some sort of approval. That, yeah, you can go and do that. We wait for others to provide guidance, provide direction, and tell us where we're going to go and how we're going to use our time and how we're going to use our talents. And if we don't decide that for ourselves, we've not been allowed. Can I? Can I? We live life with a can I attitude. May I attitude. And you can see this very quickly in two places. Number one, how people spend their time and how people spend their money. These two things, your checkbook and your date book, they tell you the ways in which you give up your opportunity to lead yourself, to lead your life, to lead your finances, to lead your talent. And until you're given permission, you will not quit from that job. Until you're given permission, you will not stand up for yourself and say, excuse me, I need to rest. You will not say, hey, I have a meeting with my child on their school day. You will not say, hey, I have a function happening on that day. What's the final shackle? Let's look at this in a few minutes. The knowledge shackle. The person who knows the answer should lead is a common misconception. And the person who doesn't should follow. I am of this opinion that I do not need to know the answer. I just need to know who knows the answer. And in any situation I'm in, if I'm aware of a future desired outcome, right there, I have the responsibility to lead. I have the mandate to lead. And what is leading? Leading is deploying myself into circumstance, saying, I think there can be a better tomorrow. I think this situation could be better. I think we could turn this around. I don't know the intricacies and details, but I think this could be created. You don't need to be a doctor to bring healing. You need to just be conscious of healing and look for the doctor. And the doctor will bring the expertise. These are the 5 shackles, and I wanted to just run through them very quickly and help you really question, in what ways am I shackling myself? And by interrogating these 5 shackles, you can free the leader that is within you. Your leadership is not from a title. Your leadership is not because you are a follower. You're always leading. You're always deploying yourself. See yourself as a leader. Begin to cultivate the image of a leader within you, to provide leadership in your estate, to provide leadership in traffic, to provide leadership in spaces where you have not even been given permission to lead. You're speaking as who? I'm speaking as a concerned party. I'm speaking as a leader. I'm speaking as someone who knows a better solution. Yes, that's who I'm speaking as. And I may not know all the details, but I know that we can have a better. I know there can be better. I know that this will not take us where we want to go. And when you begin to identify in what ways you have shackled yourself through these 5 shackles, you can free the leader that is within. These are insights for peak performance, for you to deploy yourself, for begin to show up in spaces where you ordinarily wouldn't. Take charge, provide direction, take charge, challenge the status quo, take charge, and chart a path for where we want to go. There, more income, more impact, more decisiveness. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'll see you tomorrow in another episode of Peak Performance Secrets. Please type in the comments and let me know what is the insight that you took away that has been so helpful for you. I'd love to hear that. Until the next episode, blessings, be well, and bye for now.